or heart to heart. Guitar is one of the most easily accessible musical instruments, but to reach the level of a virtuoso, of course, you need a lot more than just hard work. Today we're going to meet a world-class guitarist who boasts exceptional technicality as well as musical depth. Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Good morning. Thank you.
You just arrived in Korea, isn't that right?
Yesterday, yeah.
You must be tired. Are you okay?
I recovered from the jet lag last week. I went to Japan to play 5 concerts.
So at least you're not...
I start to feel pretty much in the groove now.
Oh, that's good.
You know.
Now, you are known to be living legend then, maybe. And there have been a lot of Korean fans waiting for you. What took you so long to come to Korea?
I don't know. It's far away. It's far away from home. And I didn't know. I didn't know that people here knew my work and were expecting me to come. So I was very pleased to find out.
No, so you play the acoustic guitar. There are different kinds of guitars, aren't there? How is acoustic guitar different from, say, I don't know, classic guitar, jazz guitar?
The tension of the strings makes the approach, the physical approach, completely different. Steel strings need more tension in order to vibrate, and so it makes the playing different, more pressure for the fingers, more strength, and also as a result a complete different sound and way to color the sound and way to manipulate the instrument.
Can you introduce your instrument to us?
Well, this is a guitar with 6 steel strings, with my signature set made in Canada by a company called Wires, because I play in a different tuning. You know, the actual tuning of the guitar is this.
Okay.
But I tune the first bass down 1 step instead of E. And the 2 treble strings are also tuned down 1 set.
So they're different from the regular, more common tuning.
Yeah, in fact, normally the regular tuning is E, A, D, G, B, E. And here we have D, A, D, G, A, D. So this is called DAD-GAD, D-A-D, G-A-D, DAD-GAD, from bass to treble. And we have it's not a major, not a minor tuning, it's a suspended tuning because the G is a fourth, and when the mode is neither minor or major, we say that it's a suspended fourth tuning. And I like this color because I feel I can interact with it. If it was major or minor, it will be already 2-colored, you know, but this is like open.
I see.
And speaking of steel string, when you play an open string with a steel string guitar, with an acoustic guitar, you can, if you move the neck, if you push on the neck,
it vibrates.
If you, the thing is that if you push on the neck, the pitch goes down. But if you pull, goes up. So that's just the neck. And then you have the sound in the sound hole, all the molecule of sounds. The way they go out can also be influenced, like they could knock on the wood of the side of the guitar before going out, like. So the combination of the body movement and the neck movement and the different effects that we use for the left hand, like vibrato, or
It's a very pretty sound. I see. Okay. There is actually a guitar maker who became famous because you played his guitar.
Oh, you must, maybe you are referring to
George
a friend of
Loudon.
mine from Ireland, from Northern Ireland, George Loudon. Well, George was already a living legend in Northern Ireland when I was introduced to his work, and I fell in love with his work right away. In 1978, when I was traveling and performing in Northern Ireland. And since then, I really loved his work and played one guitar for 25 years.
Is that a George Loudon or?
No, this is a Kevin Ryan. Yeah, 25 years is a good time. And then I thought maybe it's time for me to change. And I wanted to just go to different instrument, different sound, different way of making the instrument, just to react differently and to be challenged by the instrument, you know. When you are too much in a comfort zone, you necessarily don't always pull out what you would have to pull out if you were challenged, you know. And this guitar has been now 3 years old, and the first year was very difficult because the sound was new and the guitar was not talking to me the way I was used to, and so I had to sort of understand the language, which language we could speak together, and at the end of the day tell this guitar, now you listen to me, I want you to do this and to do that for me. And the guitar said, oh, now that I feel you respect me, now I can help you. You know, this kind of
communication.
And it goes through up and downs, frustrations, like when a guitar is very new, it sounds clear, brittle. And then that adds to the tension of playing, because what you hear is not satisfying. And so you add up by being nervous and putting even more pressure to the guitar. And so it starts sounding aggressive and stuff. But now
it's almost an independent being of its own then, the guitar is.
It's an instrument. You know what I mean?
Depending on how you communicate.
It's an instrument. Right. So it has to be known, carefully respected and manipulated. And then you can, if you try to master this instrument, then you can obviously start forgetting about it, you know.
Now, why the acoustic guitar for you?
That's just a coincidence. I come from classical piano, and my father one day brought me a guitar. It was a steel string, 6 strings guitar, and it could have been an electric guitar. It was a steel string acoustic guitar, and I started to wonder what I was going to do with this. And then a friend of mine from my classroom, a classmate, came home and said, oh, you have a guitar? Yeah, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't even know how to tune it. He said, oh, it's very easy to tune. And he showed me how to tune, how to change the strings and a few chords. How do you do this? I said, oh, you know, D, C. And then I started to listen to a lot of folk singers and fell in love with Bob Dylan, John Baez, Joni Mitchell, and people like that, and started to really go away from reading music and playing classical score on the piano and just strum and sing.
This may be a good time for us to check out Pierre Bensusan in action. We have a video clip from past concerts. Let's have a look.
That's 10 years old.
The video is 10 years old. You look a lot younger.
Yeah. I don't know what he's saying.
Oh, you sing too.
Yeah.
All of those 3 pieces sounded very different. Yeah? The last one was more like, I guess, folk guitar. But the middle one what was that Middle Eastern or?
It was a time. What we saw was recorded 10 years ago in San Francisco at a concert. It was a time when I was using quite a lot of heavy electronics, and I was recording on stage live a sequence which I was looping and then played against it. And so every concert was a different sequence, a different improvisation. It allowed me to improvise freely, single lines. I don't use those things anymore. I just go straight with one guitar, and you know.
How would you describe your music? Is it folk music or?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I definitely come from the folk world, and I'm happy to, because it's wide. But folk music has already a connotation of Western, American, English-speaking songs and protest songs. And, you know, as I said before, one of my big heroes was Bob Dylan. So I did sing a lot of stuff. And I loved his lyrics, but also some French singers like Jacques Brel, like Georges Brassens, who I sang as well. The way I approached the guitar was to back up singing and songs. So it has always been, for me, a very melodic approach. Melody has always come first for me. And then rhythms have gradually come into the universe for me, and harmony as well, as a result of my first years of playing piano, playing chords. I had already a lot of music that I wanted to express, and some was folk related, some was classical related, some was medieval music related, and then you know, I belong to our world, and I love the Beatles and the Who and the Rolling Stones and Jimi Hendrix and jazz, and then today everything which contains a musical universe, I feel close to, you know. So
that explains why you have such a wide spectrum of music in your repertoire.
Well, I feel a musician is like a tape recorder. He hears something and remembers it. And then after that, it just goes through a personal filter and is delivered in many different ways which make what we say personal to us. It's not like an invention. I would never pretend to invent anything, but it's just a personal way to apprehend the world where I am, and I feel that the music is helping me to express myself in that way, because a lot of things I would not know how to use words to say, but with the music, it's direct for me.
It's a language for you.
I don't know if it's a language. It's a way to touch invisible things and to communicate abstract or invisible things with people without using a language.
You compose quite a lot too. When you compose on the guitar, how do you do it?
I have a melody, you know, and then I try to bring the melody in the spectrum of the guitar. Like I was listening to this like and I remember that I'm a guitarist, that I can accompany myself like and then I say, okay, I could sing it, but I could also play it like. So
it's very easy for you.
Well, it looks like easy, but sometimes beautiful stuff is easy to play. Some of the time it requires more effort, but even the easy is always like, let's make it as easy as possible. Let's not complicate things for the sake of complication. Let's make it as easy as possible, and so that we hear really what we want to hear, you know.
Well, you have a fan club here in Korea, and you had a meeting with your fans. They actually wanted to ask you a few questions, and we have those questions on tape, so let's have a look.
Okay.
한국 사람들이 손이 약간 작은 편인데 손이 작은 사람들은 벤슨산의 곡들을 어떻게 연습해야 되는지 궁금하네요.
예, 많은 연주자분들이 대게 튜닝을 즐겨서 하고 있습니다. 대게 튜닝을 한 이유 중 하나가 운지하기가 편하다 이런 이유로서 하는 건데 벤수산 씨의 곡은 대게수로 함에도 불구하고 굉장히 어렵습니다. 왜 굳이 대게 튜닝을 부족한지 알고 있습니다.
독학만으로 그 현존하는 최고의 기타리스트라는 칭호를 얻으셨는데요. 그 연습하는 과정 중에서 힘들었던 부분이나 아니면 이렇게 도움이 될 만한 그런 조언이 있으면 부탁드립니다.
Okay, let's answer those questions one by one. The first question was, Korean people have comparatively small hands. How should they practice their techniques? First of all, is it helpful if you have a big hand?
Yeah, but it helps. But some people have big hands and do not move their hands with comfort or subtlety. Some of the people have smaller hands, but they take advantage and they are more supple. The muscles are very relaxed and flexible, so you can move. I think what is important with the hands is to not leave a position because it's painful. Like if you have to do a stretch like this, this could stay here, and so you hear the three notes. But some people cannot stretch, so they... And so you hear a hole, you see, you hear that note going away, for instance.
Right.
So for those people, when they have to leave a situation because of uncomfort, they should do it in a musical way so that it stays musical, that we don't really suffer from that note disappearing at that moment.
So just because they can't stretch their fingers means they can't play it. They can play it in a more musical way.
Well, you know, people who cannot stretch jump like, you know. There is always a musical way to get a good result.
Okay.
So you need to listen carefully to what you hear. You know, you need to listen, and because you listen carefully, then you can interact with it, I think. But the tuning in which I play, because those three strings are down, it requires more stretching in order to get the same note.
Right.
Like for me, this is an A major. Yeah? That's, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, stretch.
Gosh.
It has not been easy but I thought to myself, you play it. Whatever it takes to do it. So, yeah.
Which brings us to the second question, which was, why do you always insist with the dadgad tuning?
It's just to sound different. You know, to do it my way.
As simple as that.
I didn't want to go through lessons and go through the classical courses with the guitar as I did with the piano. With the piano, I had a great teacher, a woman, who basically taught me how to approach music hand by hand, what to listen to, and the method. I never forgot that. When I picked up the guitar, I taught myself that I always remembered what she said to me. So I felt I could, you know, go in that universe on my own with listening to a lot of other people, take example on them, talk to other friends, play with other musicians, learn from them, learn from books, read music, learn pieces like this. But I was playing a lot of Irish music at the time, a lot of Celtic music, and that tuning is great.
I see. Very Celtic.
The guitar plays almost by itself, you know. You know, so that tuning was great for that. But then I thought, okay, what about chords? What about playing a different tone? What if always this bass, you know? So I started to learn chords, and like any guitarist is doing when he's approaching harmony, you know, like F, C, and so forth.
The last question was, you taught yourself how to play the guitar and became a world-class guitarist. Have you experienced any difficulties on your own, or can you give some advice to people who are trying to study the guitar?
Yeah, I have experienced a lot of difficulty, obviously, you know. But I think a musician is someone who go beyond the difficulty. If as soon as it is difficult, you sort of say, "Oh, I do that."
Uh-huh.
If every time you have a little challenge and you're trying to avoid it, it's going to be very difficult to. I think every challenge is a key. If you go through the challenge, then you can open a lot of doors. And then your technique goes like this all the time. And so is your musicality, you know. The difficulty is, you know, to stretch, for instance, but also to keep a note to ring while other fingers play something else. Like... This note rings all the time. So I'm building all my fingerings around that finger. And if at some point I have to do that, well, I do that, you know.
So basically the key is to just practice.
Yeah, but practice is a dangerous word. Why not saying, just play?
Okay.
Yeah, just play.
To keep playing.
I like the idea of playing because practicing means discipline. Yeah,
it means work.
I will do it.
Yes.
I work. I like the notion of pleasure, and the notion of pleasure through effort and through. I'll get that because I love it, and I will have a lot of pleasure in the means to get there.
So since you first started playing the guitar to where you are now, your musicality has probably changed quite a bit too. The depth of your music.
Yeah, well, this is life, you know. I'm 49, so obviously I'm not anywhere where I was when I was even 10 years. You know, when I listened to that DVD we just saw, you know, I thought, wow. I will never do that now the same way, you know. I will take my time. I will listen to the sound much more. I will sing in tune more. I think when you grow older, you go for where you feel the essential is. And it's very important in music to feel what is important in a piece. Of course, it's going to be very subjective, very personal, but I feel that I'm more now able to accept what I am, what I can do, and from there try to find where the pleasure is, and also go in the direction of my goals. Like I want to hear this, I'd like to play this, but yet discover my instrument all the time, work on the fretboard, and I can do that here. You know, I'm still like, that's great, I can do that. I'm still challenged and surprised by this instrument.
We're actually going to take you back in time because we have a photo album of you from when you were young to now. So let's have a look.
Okay.
There you go, a little baby there.
That was in Algeria. With my father
with
in
your father, who bought you the first guitar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That was in a monastery in Saint-Benoît-sur-Loire in France with my friend Pascal. We were in the same classroom together. That was in Roma, the day after a show, many years later. That was when I played bluegrass with Bill Keith, American banjo player, and Claude Lefebvre on guitar. Well, that was, I think, a concert in a festival in Brittany. Yeah.
Wow, those were certainly old pictures, huh?
Yeah.
So after the Korean concert here, what's your schedule like?
I go home, I go back to France, I play in Brittany, then I drive to Italy, I play 3 concerts in Italy. Then I drive to Ireland and do a tour in Ireland with 11 shows, and I come back, play in Brittany again, play in Paris in the meantime, and then I fly to America and do 20 shows there.
Hope you'll have. Hope you won't wait another 49 years to come visit Korea again.
You are very, very optimistic. I'd like at least to be here in 49 years' time. But no, I will not. No, I know there is a country called South Korea, and great people here. I definitely would like to come often.
Before you go, would you please play us a tune?
Yeah, I'm going to to keep playing that one I just played for you.
Okay, well,
Okay.
in the meantime, let me thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
joining us today.
Thank you for having me.